Hi, my name is Catherine Ahern and welcome to Fun with Numbers Review Metrics with EIS Engagement and Information Services. So by way of introduction, I am the Assistant Librarian in Engagement and Information Services. This area covers the point of contact for customer service, events, building management within the library. And in this brief talk, I'm going to discuss the different types of data that we collect, how we collect it, and what we do with the information once we have it. Engagement and Information Services, EIS, sits under the umbrella of academic services in the library. And we share this with TRD, Teaching, Research and Development. Both department, TRD and EIS, engage directly with students, albeit in different manners. TRD, Teaching, Research and Development, focus on the classes, research, searching, referencing. Engagement Information Services, EIS, focus on the daily interactions. It's often a reactive service and meets students at a point of need. So what we tend to focus on is delivering the library's information and admission desk services, so face-to-face support, delivering virtual support via chat and email, shelving operations, opening hours, event management operations, key role in developing the library's social media presence, enhancing and improving the student experience in the library. We are actually the largest department within the library also. And as a front-facing service, you will be forgiven for thinking that statistics and data would not be at the front of what we do, when in fact the department collects a huge array of data on a daily basis, which we share within the library. So metrics in the library. Why does it matter and why are we concerned about it? The library recently launched its new strategic plan for 2023-2028, and data is a key enabler for the library's latest strategic plan. We recognise that we are custodians of a vast amount of data, and we understand its value in providing evidence to support our work. So we intend to leverage the quantitative and qualitative data we collect to help facilitate responsive and adaptable support for our users. So what we have promised to do in our plan is adopt a coordinated approach to the collections and use data to inform our provision of services and collections and allow us to respond to demand. We also intend on using data to develop impact cases which show the benefits of the library service, supports and collections to our community. We will use infographics based on the data collected to demonstrate key library trends, reports and other information that can help assist external partners in making decisions and promoting MU. What data do we collect? As I mentioned, we collect data on a daily basis, and some of the data that we collect includes the number and types of queries that are faced at the desk and virtually, the number of items borrowed by our users, the number of items shelved, footfall within the library, feedback and complaints. And where does this data come from? This data is collected from a multitude of sources. Salto measures access to the library. Our library management system, ALMA, measures our users and the items borrowed. SpringShare then measures our queries in person and virtually, so it hosts LibAnswers, LibInsights and library chat. And what does all this data tell us? It gives us an indication of usage of the library, usage of our collection, and usage of the supports we actually provide in person. It also indicates areas of support that our users might need. So what do we do with the information? We use the data to make informed decisions about the service hours and to assist library colleagues in decision making and planning. As I mentioned, EIS, Engagement Information Services, manages the two desks at the front of the library. One of these desks is the information desk. So what we've done is we've looked at semester one for the academic year 2024-2025, and there are a number of key areas at the information desk that have been highlighted in queries. Directional is a key area. This covers all the questions past the turnstiles about locations. So how to locate a group study room, the training rooms, how to locate a book on the floor. Borrowers' accounts is another key area that we are asked about on a regular basis. So if a student has trouble borrowing, renewing, if they have fines, and how many items can I borrow, those questions are recorded here. and which accounts for 15.2%. The next most commonly asked area will be the catalogue. So what is a library catalogue? Where do I find the catalogue? How do I use the catalogue? And what do the terms and the indicator in the catalogue actually mean? And how to put and hold an item. That's 17%. So these are the queries that were dealt with about the catalogue at the desk. Another one which will be the self-service kiosks. So they account for 11.3%. So how to use self-service, how to borrow independently, return independently, and view their account on the kiosk. So what do we do with the information when we've collected it? Well, we share it with our colleagues. Firstly, in TRD, Teaching, Research and Development, so they can design or incorporate this information into their class sessions or list sessions so they understand the areas the students are struggling with. We also share it with DCT, our digital communication team, so they can develop content that will help users to become more familiar and comfortable using the library and its facilities. And we also share this information with senior management so they understand the trends of the usage, and if there's a surprise in it, we can flag it then and identify it. So the second desk that we mentioned is the admissions desk. So this is a desk before you come past the turnstiles. And as you can see, directional queries here are quite large, which is 30% of all queries. So these are, how do I find the building on campus? How do I find the bursar's office? How do I find registration? How do I find the student union? They'd all be fielded here because the library is the first building open and the last building closed. So people often come in and ask for support in locating different buildings. Another area I'd like to focus on is the forgotten cards. So this is the yellow segment here. So students need a card to come in and access the library, and if you forget one, you get a temporary card that lasts a day. Up to the academic year 22-23, the forgotten cards were only cost €1 to replace. So for 2022-2023, we issued 4,049 forgotten cards. And then in semester 1 of 2024-2025, we only issued 1,824, which is a reduction of 55%. And the reason for this is in the academic year 23-24, we made the decision to increase our forgotten cards looking at the data we collected over the previous years, that we noticed students were just getting forgotten cards. The same students were repeatedly getting forgotten cards because they only cost €1 and they had no incentive to actually retain their student card, and they weren't replacing them if they were lost. So the €5 charge has made the students stop and think and realise it's actually worth my while bringing my student card in. So the reduction has also freed up time for staff on the desk, to actually do other work and support users coming in. And also a knock-on effect of the reduction is the increase is the reduction in noise complaints when you compare the two semesters in question. There is a massive 90% reduction from the first semester of the last year of the €1 card compared to the semester just gone, which is really, really positive experience for both our users and staff. As I mentioned, we gather data from our library management system, Alma. So what is a library management system? It's a piece of software that's used by libraries to manage our resources effectively, and it helps us organise and catalogue and circulate books and journals and media and other materials available in the library. So we use Eglibris Alma. And what do we record? We record the number of users. This is broken down by type of user, so undergraduate, postgraduate, university staff, external member, etc. It records the number of items borrowed, and users can view their account online and make requests and renewals. And what do we do with this information? We break this down into different types of items borrowed and by whom. This shows us the trend of usage, and for example, we use this information at the time of the refurbishment work of the summer of 2024. We were able to select all the items in the catalogue that were housed in the West Wing. We were able to look and see which were the most frequently borrowed items over the previous 3 years, and we were able to make these items available during the works. So the data collected on a library management system allowed us to make informed decisions rather than just guesswork, which is very, very positive for our users. I mentioned Salto. And Salto is used to measure the physical space, access to the physical space of the library. It measures the number of swipes into the building, but we also track the occupancy of the building using Salto. This is all manually checked and recorded by the team. And what do we do with these numbers? Well, at an institutional level, we feed this information into the HEA survey that's conducted annually. And at a department level, by keeping this data, we can look at usage and try to meet the user need in the best manner possible. And this data helps us make informed decisions based on the evidence in terms of service need. So, for example, our opening hours. With all this information, what do we actually do with it? Well, we try to create visuals to demonstrate to the university community and wider what we are doing. Infographics are used to demonstrate this and we then promote these on our social media channels. So the first image here is used to show the story of the first 6 weeks of 24-25 and some of the changes made, like extending the laptop loans, promoting the new opening hours, the numbers of items borrowed, the peak hours in the library, and the queries answered. Number of click and collects are also requested. The second image then was used to show the first semester 23, including shelving, queries, and how we did in comparison to the 2022. Often users do not understand the behind-the-scenes element of librarianship, and using these figures give us an opportunity to illustrate the work that's being done in the background. So using the information collected over the course of an academic year, we can review our service and our team structures. And this is what we did for the beginning of the academic year 24-25. We used data to make a decision about service hours. So the 24-25 is a pilot of new service hours based on information we collected. The uses of the library had changed since COVID. Once in demand late evenings are much quieter now in terms of footfall, and the impact of the housing crisis on more students than ever were commuting. So these trends were indicated by the use of the library. So based on the data we collected, we made some decisions. We had decided to open earlier across the 7 days, extend our opening hours on a Friday evening, and during the exam period we opened till midnight Monday to Friday rather than 2 a.m. Ideally, this will meet the demand from all students for extended hours and support the university drive to develop the student community, many of whom are postgraduates. It will support the university's drive for sustainability, not just for the sustainability of service, but also the green campus element, as the buildings such as a library impacts on usage of electricity and water, so targeting the high usage times to support and turning our focus on these would reduce energy consumption during off-peak periods. And after semester 1 of 24-25, we can actually see that 98% of our footfall is between our new service hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. And this element of change has been very positive, even with the changed closing hours to 10 p.m. I'd like to thank you all for listening to our whistle-stop tour of the library and metrics. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to talk about metrics at any time. So you can feel free to send me an email at catherine.ahern@mu.ie. I'm always happy to discuss metrics and their merits. Thank you for your time.